Today we are here to explore the beautiful building blocks of poetry, the stanza, and its many forms. A stanza in poetry is a grouped set of lines with a recurring rhyme or rhythm. It gives the poem structure and flow. Stanzas help poets organize thoughts, emphasize emotions, and enhance the music of the poem. Stanzas are named according to the number of lines they contain. Let's look at some of the most common forms. Here we have 9 different types of stanza, which we will discuss in this video. And the first one is monostitch. From the name itself, we understand that mono means one, single. And this type of stanza of poetry consists of one single line. Despite of its briefness, it gives the complete meaning. Next one is couplet. A couplet is made up of 2 lines that usually rhyme and share the rhythm or meter, and it's mainly seen that it's an iambic meter. They are commonly found in many poetic forms, including sonnets, ballads, and epics. Just take a famous example from To His Coy Mistress by Andrew Marvell, and notice how the lines not only rhyme from time to crime, but also flows with the steady iambic beat. This poem uses rhyming couplets and is written in iambic tetrameter, meaning each line has 4 iambic feet or 8 syllables in a da-dum pattern. Now let us see heroic couplet. Heroic couplet is a specific kind of couplet, one that uses iambic pentameter, a strict rhythm pattern of 10 syllables per line. These were favored in epic and formal poetry during the neoclassical period. While any poem can include couplets, heroic couplets are more structured, powerful, and elegant, often used to express complete thoughts or philosophical ideas. These verses were introduced by Geoffrey Chaucer in The Legend of Good Woman and Canterbury Tales. He is also known as the father of English poetry. These heroic couplets become very famous because of the use of these couplets in the famous work of William Shakespeare, sonnets. Around 154 sonnets are there. Afterwards, John Dryden and Alexander Pope has also used it in neon-classical period. There are basically 2 different kinds of couplets, that is closed and run-on couplet. There are 2 types of couplet: closed couplet and run-on couplet. Closed couplet is basically a kind of a couplet which poets uses in different poems, in which both the 2 lines gives the complete meaning. But if the poet is unable to express his thoughts, his emotions in those 2 lines, and he requires 2 more lines, then that is termed as run-on couplet. As couplet itself says that the 2 lines are needed, so run-on couplet can add 2 more lines. That is a run-on couplet. The main difference of couplet and heroic couplet is that in couplet 2 successive lines of poetry usually rhymed, whereas in heroic couplet, a pair of rhyming line is iambic pentameter, the specific strict iambic pentameter is followed. 10 syllables per line. A tercet is a stanza made of 3 lines. If all 3 lines rhyme, it's known as triplet. Triplets are less common than couplets and quatrains, but can create a strong rhythmic impact when used effectively. It is also known as Terza Rima. Terza Rima, tercet, triplet, all are the 3-line stanzas. In triplet and tercet, the line can be of equal or varying length, but the rhythm will be same. For example, if it is A, then it will be A, or it could be B. So the rhyming scheme will be same, but the length can vary or can be equal. Let us look at the famous example of Richard Crosh, that is wishes of his supposed mistress. Here we can see that these 3 lines are having the same rhyming scheme: be, she, me, but the length of all 3 lines are different, they are varying. Terza Rima is also a 3-line stanza, but it has a little bit complex stanza. It was invented by Dante Alighieri for his epic The Divine Comedy. It uses a chain rhyming scheme, that is, the middle line of the tercet becomes the outer line of the next one. For example, ABA is for the first stanza, then the second stanza will have BCB. That it means the middle line of the tercet, first tercet, is the outer line of the second tercet. There is no limit to how long a Terza Rima sequence can be, but poems often closes with a couplet EE or a single line that echoes the previous rhyme. This was adapted into English by Sir Thomas Watt and later mastered by the poet like P.B. Shelley, whose Ode to the West Wind is a stunning example. Let us look at the famous work of P.B. Shelley in Ode to the West Wind. Here, in the 3 lines, we can see that the last word of the first line is beer. Then the second one is thee, and the third one is share. All these 3 lines gives a rhyming scheme of, we can see that the first and the third line matches, that is bear, share. But whereas the second line, the word is thee, that doesn't matches. So it will be moving on towards the next stanza, and so the rhyming scheme will be as ABA and BCB. This is Terza Rima rhyming structure. Next is a quadrant. A quadrant is one of the most common and versatile stanza forms in poetry. It consists of 4 lines and can either stand alone or a complete poem, or function as a part of longer work. Quadrant can follow various rhyming schemes, including ABAB, AABB, or ABCB, each leading a different musical tone. Let us look at the famous heroic quadrant ABAB from Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray. Look at these 4 lines. Here, the last letter of the first line is day, whereas the second line is li, and the third line is way, and the fourth line is me. Here we can see the rhyming scheme is AB, AB, and because of this, it is known as heroic quadrant. A quintain is a 5-line stanza, also known as Cinquain, which is a French word, or quintet. These stanzas can follow various rhyming schemes and can appear in both serious and humorous poetry. One of the most famous form of quintain is the limerick, a witty, often absurd poem with an AABBA rhyming scheme. Limerick originated in Ireland and they have become a beloved form of light verses around the world. Now let us look at the example of a limerick. Here we can see the 5 stanzas, and the rhyming scheme of this stanza will be AABBA, as the last word of the first line of the stanza is Norway, the second is doorway, and the last line is way. So these all have a same sound, that same rhyming scheme, that is AAA, whereas the third and the fourth line has and Joe are there in the third and the fourth line. Therefore, we have the rhyming scheme as A, A, B, B, and A. That is A, A, B, B, A. Sestet is a 6-line stanza or poem. The word comes from Italian sestot, meaning sixth. Most famous, the sestet form the second part of Petrarchian sonnet, following the 8-line octave. Poets like Francisco Petrarchian, John Milton, and Elizabeth Barrett Browne use this structure to explore contrast, where the octave presents a problem and a sestet offers a reflection or solution. In Milton's sonnet, they also serves who only stands and wait in a profound conclusion delivered within the final sestet. Now let us look at the famous example of John Milton's When I Consider How My Light is Spent. Here 6 lines are taken from his poem, the sestet portion only, and therefore the rhyming scheme will be starting from C. Earlier lines has their own different rhyming scheme, that is basically A B B A, A B B A, that will be an octave, and this is the second half, that is the sestet. Therefore we can see that in this stanza the first line last word need has the same rhyming with speed. Therefore, as the best rhymes with rest and state with wait. So the rhyming scheme of this sestet is C D E, C D E. Terza Rima is also a 6-line stanza, but it is composed by combining two different stanzas, that is a quadrant and a couplet, and rhyming pattern will be A B A B C C. It is a perfect structure for storytelling with rhythm and resolution. Shakespeare used this form beautifully in Venus Adonis, where vivid imaginary and emotional spacing unfold line by line, ending with a couplet that clinches the moment. Let us look at this famous example of William Shakespeare, written in 1593. Looking into these lines, we can see that the first and the third line are matching, and the second and the fourth line are matching. So the rhyming scheme of these four lines will be A B A B, but the last two lines have the same rhyming scheme, that is C C. So this shows that the first four lines is basically a quadrant and last two is a couplet. Combining these two makes a Terza Rima. I hope it's clear. Chaucerian stanza or rhyme royal stanza is basically a 7-line verse from first scene in Chaucer's work, and therefore it is termed as Chaucerian stanza. Shakespeare later used it in his famous work The Rape of Lucrece, with its rhyming scheme of A B A B B C C. It allows for rich storytelling and a natural sense of poetic resolution. It is also known as rhyme royal. Why? Because it was used by King James I of Scotland in the 15th century for his well-known work of King's Square. And as a king has used it, therefore the name as rhyme royal. Octave is a specific type of stanza that consists of 8 lines, commonly found in Italian sonnets, with the rhyming scheme of A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A. The octave sets the stage in many classical sonnets. With its structure, rhyme, and flow, it often opens a dialogue between the poet and the reader. Like in Milton's On His Blindness, where questions of faith and purpose echoes across 8 powerful lines. Just look at to this poem, this example. Here we can see that the first line matches with the fourth one and the middle two lines, that is second and third, matches with each other. So the rhyming scheme of first 4 line will be A, B, B, A. The next 4 lines will follow the same rhyming scheme, that is A, B, B, A, as the last word of each line matches with the fifth and the last stanza, and the middle two matches with each other, that is sixth and seventh. Ottava Rima. It is also a 8-line stanza introduced by Sir Thomas Watt in 16th century in England. Sir Thomas Watt made some changes in Italian sonnets in octave by changing the rhyming pattern. Ottava Rima has a rhyming scheme of A, B, A, B, A, B, C, C, whereas the rhyming scheme of octave is A, B, B, A, B, B, A, and Ottava Rima has A, B, A, B, A, B, C, C. The Spenserian stanza, a poetic invention by Edmund Spenser, who used it extensively in his epic poems. The Spenserian stanza consists of 9 lines. Here are few MCQs. Pause the video, solve them, and resume the video and check your answers. Here are few MCQs. Pause the video, solve them, and resume the video and check your answers. Here are few MCQs. Pause the video, solve them, and resume the video and check your answers. Here are few MCQs. Pause the video, solve them, and resume the video and check your answers. Here are few MCQs. Pause the video, solve them, and resume the video and check your answers. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English Hub.